Well, no matter where you live or work in Australia, you probably know at least one absolutely loopy leftist, because they are everywhere these days. It could be a colleague, a relative, a mate's crazy girlfriend, or an old schoolmate who you've reconnected with on Facebook and now wish you hadn't. Getting sucked into conversations with this type of person is easy because you, being sensible and polite, assume that even the most contentious topics needn't be debated rudely or aggressively. But that's not how they see it. Having superior opinions and morality means they only need to shout platitudes at you, and when you fail to agree, then you're a racist, making them feel unsafe. My next guest knows one of these crazy leftists. In fact, she could be one of the craziest leftists in Australia right now. He knows her because he works with her in the Australian Senate. Watch this Oscar-winning performance from her last week.
A senator in this place just called another senator a racist, and I'd ask for that to be withdrawn.
I think that's entirely reasonable. Senator Thorpe.
President, I was stating a fact. With all due respect, Acting Deputy President, could you please inform me what the ramifications would be for me to remove my remark about somebody being racist and me not feeling safe?
I don't want to give you a platform to repeat.
I need to know what the ramifications are. Could I seek
advice? Turn off the microphone.
Now, while this kind of petulance is bad enough at a family gathering or party, the fact that it is happening in the Australian Senate should alarm us all. Our parliamentary system wasn't designed for people who can't debate without resorting to name-calling. Thorpe is no Robinson Crusoe in lowering the standards in federal parliament, but she is the first, I suspect, to say she feels unsafe in one of the most heavily guarded chambers in the country. Let's bring in the man who caused all this anguish, South Australian Senator Alex Antic. Alex, welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Fred. Thanks for that wrap up. I caused all this anguish. Yeah, so there I was walking in thinking I was just delivering a nice little speech about Western civilization, and it all just blew up on me. So here we are.
Let's get back to how it started. What did you say to deserve being called a racist?
It's a great question. Well, I mean, I'll give you the thrust of what I was trying to say. It was a relatively short contribution, but basically I was trying to say I'm worried about where we're headed in the West. I'm worried about the ability for people to be able to debate and the robust nature of our politicians, our leaders, our media, to try and tell things like they are for fear of being called names. So I was talking about the so-called isms and phobias. You know, you might be racism or transphobia or whatever it might be. And then out of left field came calls of you're a racist or you're being racist or that's racist. I didn't hear it, as it turns out. I'm only going on what I heard afterwards, but it kind of highlighted the point. I mean, the thrust of the speech really was about protecting our institutions. And these sort of throwaway lines of it's all racist. Now, this is not an unusual scenario. This happens all the time in the chamber, and it's usually from the corner of the chamber that one came from. But I really was quite blown away because it didn't seem like there was anything even remotely racist about what was being said. And then before we know it, it sort of entered into this WWF free for all with Senator McGrath getting up and pointing out what had happened, and then Deb O'Neill, who was acting deputy president at that stage, Labor senator, making the point, saying, well, this needs to be withdrawn, it's unparliamentary. And that's sort of where it began and ended. And Senator Thorpe refused to do it, and then eventually came back later on and begrudgingly withdrew the comment. So it was all just another day in paradise, I suppose.